Guys, it's turbo day. It is time to finally put the single turbo on the 1J. It's taken a little bit of time because obviously we've been doing other things, doing other stuff. But one of the things we've done is recently modified the oil pan. So that's all modified and back on and sealed. So that is great. Did a bit of welding, bit of hammering, bit of massaging, getting it perfect. So that is done. Now we need to get the single turbo on and we need to put the gearbox back on. So the next video is going to be redoing the seals on the gearbox and getting the gearbox back on here. Well, one of the next videos. But for today, it's turbo time. Let's jump in. All right, so like I said in the intro, it is time to get this on this. Now, thank you to Aeroflow once again for joining in on this build. We will talk about them in a minute, but I want to give you an overview of kind of how we're going to go about this. So we have our single manifold here, and I'll talk about that in a bit as well because it did look like rubbish, but we fixed it up, made it really nice, and changed it from an external to an internal wastegate. As you can see, there's no pipe for wastegate over here anymore. But what we need to do, this was a twin setup, as you guys know. This is a non-VVTi 1J. So we've got 2 water returns, 2 water feeds, one there, 2 oil feeds, and 1 oil return. Now, what we can do, number one, we're going to block this off, so that's fine. We only need 1 oil feed, and it's nicer to get the one at the front. So we're just going to block the back one off, which is all good. What we've done on the Supra motor is this got crimped and soldered, and both of these did, and they used different feeds and returns for the water. What we're going to do on this one is a little bit different, so we don't have to worry about crimping this and then possibly the crimp failing or something like that. And obviously the exhaust is going to be back here and firewall is going to be here. It's going to be, you know, a real pain to get to. We're going to run a line from here to a swell pot and a line from one of these to a swell pot, which is actually our filler point for our coolant. So essentially you can see that as the second turbo, how it would have been set up previously, if you know what I mean. Obviously 1 feed, 1 return. So we're still going to be using those feed and returns, it's just they're going into a pot. Then we're going to use this feed for the turbo and one of these is the return. We're actually going to run a nice hard line, maybe up here to the turbo. Obviously oil feed, oil return. So it's quite basic, but what we need to do first is just quickly go through and clean up all these threads. They're the stock studs, so we're going to use them. They're great. We do need to cut down this one, and possibly this one when I put it back in. So I'm going to quickly clean them up, chuck them in, and bring you back. All right, I got a bit carried away, but we have trimmed down that stud, that one, and that one. So 3, 4, and 5 cylinder on the bottom side. Everything else is fine. They're all cleaned up and everything. I'm just nipping them up now. So we've got the gasket in through there. I'm going to tape this up as well. We need to tap and drill this, or drill and tap this, sorry, because these holes were just massacred. So when we sealed up the holes over here where my fingers are, which went down to the external wastegate port, they're sealed up. We also welded up these because obviously a nice drill and tap and it'll be perfect. So gonna go through and drill tap that right now. Gonna get this tape on it, mark it with the gasket, drill and tap it. You want to know about my fun reality of today? Well, the fun reality of today is I've snapped 6 drill bits trying to drill this out because I'm an idiot and I didn't think, that's weld, that's essentially hardened steel. Maybe I'll snap my drill bits. And the other fun thing that happened is I killed my drill. Obviously that wasn't connected to that, but rest in peace, Ryobi. We are on finally. This one back here really sucked. I went through like 8 drill bits, a drill. Oh man, it was just a pain. I don't know why it was so hard, but it was. It's now done, it's drilled, it's tapped, it's all good. So this from memory is the Aeroflow B5255. I will write it down here somewhere. If I'm wrong, if I'm right, good for me with my memory. as I've said, Aeroflow are on board with this build, and I'm stoked that they are. They've come across, brought this in, and it's essentially a 3076 or 3071. It's like in between the two, so it's going to be very responsive, and that is the aim for this. We're not going big power figures. The gearbox is good for like 420 rear wheel horsepower, as far as I remember, or kilowatt, I don't know. Again, I'll write it down here so you have a confirmation now that we've put that shift kit in. So I don't want any more than 400 rear wheel horsepower, right? So the gearbox will still be able to handle it, and I want it really, really responsive. So Aeroflow have come across and given us that, asked about what their range is, and it's huge. They've got big power turbos, they've got small power turbos that are responsive, etc., etc. We have gone internal gate, as you can see. This is the actuator, and it's in here. I've got this just sealed up because obviously it's outside. I don't want the elements to get to it. And they've given us an adapter that comes across as well. Or given, I bought it from them. They supplied it for obviously the downpipe as well. As you can see, it's not fully bolted down. We have to do the lines now. So, like I said, we need one to go into here and one to come out of here. Then we're just going to run our normal lines out to the overflow, and same with this overflow, swell pot, whatever you want to call it. One of these will go to it, that'll go to it. So when it was a twin turbo, you can imagine this fed one turbo and then it returned to here. That fed one turbo and then it returned to here. So each of these went into something and out of something, right? This will go into the turbo and then back to here. This will go into the swell pot and then back to here. So essentially, like, there's two elements that they are going to be fed. It, like I said, it just saves us like ripping this out, crimping it, and then maybe a crimp failing. It's much easier to just replace a hose than try and get back here. Imagine we're in the engine bay, right? Ends here, downpipes here, and you're trying to get in and crimp something. It's going to be a headache. Whereas if a pipe goes, you just pop it off, put a new one on, easy as, right? Okay, so let's get these lines done. Okay, so here are our water lines. So with this turbo, you can either do in and out the same side, in and out of opposite side, top, bottom, whatever you want. So, because each side, as you can see, has two ports. What we are going to do is go in the top of the back and out the top of the, out the top of the front, let's call it. So you can see we're going to come into that fitting, up, across, down, and then have a little U-shaped hose right there, so that'll work. And then the feed will come out the back, go down, follow what that one looks like, so it's going to be nice and pretty, and then it will jump into our hose right there. So that's our that's our water feed and return. So for our oil feed, we're going to come out here, come down, and then we're going to make our way to there. And then our return is tucked up under there, as you can see. So what we're going to do is make a new fitting, and it'll bolt on, and it will have an actual hard line that will come down, follow my finger, through, and sit about here. So then all we have to do is actually have a hose that goes from there to there. The good thing about that is you don't have to do any maintenance or any hose swapping up here all the way down, right? If your hose fails, you just change it from there to there. So that's all we're going to do. But as for the turbo, it is mounted. I've just put the rear housing on with a V-band, so that the adapter from the 5-bolt down to a V-band. And then I'm just going to bolt our V-band onto the back of that, and then I'll tape it up so it's all kind of weather sealed to a degree. And then that will be ready for our exhaust. As you can see, I've done a little bit of heat tape here just because the exhaust is going to sit quite close. I'll probably actually take that off and extend it, or add another piece there. Whatever the case may be, you won't really see it, but it's just a little bit of protection for that. So as you can see, it comes down from under there, so it'll bolt into that fitting there, come down, and then that's where we will have the actual, like the other end of the fitting to go down to our return. All right, so that is going to be it for the video today, guys. Turbo is on, lines are made up. We just need to put, obviously, the fittings on the ends and slap them on. If you want to see them on, obviously, subscribe, like, comment, come back, and see how this goes. We have to do those and then we're going to be bolting the box on and putting it back in. So the next video you guys will see will be, we're going to be doing the seals on the gearbox. That'll be the next video. And then after that, the subframe reinforcement is going to be going in. So definitely tune into that. If you've got an E46, you want to see that. Trust me, you want to see that. So thank you for coming along, guys. Thank you for all your love, all the views, all the likes, the comments, everything. Please don't forget to subscribe, and I'll see you all in the next one. See you guys.